Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Anne Nwawado from Lagos, Nigeria. Ukrainian officials have said that Russia unleashed new airstrikes early on Friday, killing a 10-year-old boy in the northeastern city of Kharkiv. The attack is also said to have damaged grain and port infrastructure in the Odessa region in the south. According to the regional governor, Ole Snihobov, the boy was killed when Russia hit Ukraine's second biggest city with 2 Iskander ballistic missiles. Also, 23 others were wounded in that incident, including an 11-month-old baby. The attacks followed the Russian missile strike on Thursday, where Ukrainian officials said that dozens of people were killed in a village in the northeastern Ukrainian side during a gathering to mourn a fallen Ukrainian soldier. Meanwhile, the attack in Roza is said to be one of the deadliest single strikes on civilians since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. In the latest strikes overnight, the Ukrainian Air Force said in a statement that air defenses shot down 25 of 33 drones launched by Russia from the annexed Crimea Peninsula. At least 52 people were killed after a Russian attack on the memorial service in the Kupiansk village in northeast region. Large piles of bricks and shattered metal and building materials remain where the cafe and the shop were hit in the region in Kharkiv. In the meantime, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said it was no blind strike from the Russians and troops could not have been unaware of where they were striking. According to him, in his nightly address, the missile strike on a village in Kharkiv region on an ordinary store and cafe was deliberate. And in response to that attack, the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights has deployed a field team to investigate the airstrike on the Ukrainian village of Roza. But he says that it had likely been fired by Russia, but that it was too early to say for certain. The spokesperson, Elizabeth Trossel, told reporters in Geneva that the UN rights chief has deployed a field team to the site to speak to survivors and gather more information. 3 days of mourning has been announced in the Kharkiv region after that attack.
What is absolutely clear is that the women of Iran have been a source of inspiration for the world. We've seen their courage and determination in the face of reprisals, intimidation, violence, and detention. This courage, this determination has been remarkable. They've been harassed for what they do or don't wear. There are increasingly stringent legal, social, and economic measures against them. So we would absolutely say that this really is something that really highlights the courage and determination of the women of Iran and how they are an inspiration to the world. We know that she was, I think, given an additional 1-year sentence, which she is serving. We and other parts of the UN human rights system have repeatedly called for her release. I think it's important to stress that what has happened today really highlights how women in Iran are fighting for their rights, but indeed for the rights of all Iranians. And that must be something that is saluted and welcomed.
The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres is strongly condemning the Russian attack on the Ukrainian village of Lupiansk. Speaking on his behalf to reporters in New York, the UN spokesman Stefan Dujarric decried this attack on civilians.
The Secretary General strongly condemns today's attack, which reportedly killed at least 49 people and injured several others in the Kupiansk district of the Kharkiv region of Ukraine. Attacks against civilians and civilian infrastructure are prohibited under international humanitarian law, and they must stop immediately. The Secretary General extends his condolences to the families of the victims and wishes a prompt recovery to all those injured.
British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is also condemning that attack, describing it as horrific. After a meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky at a summit of the European political community in Spain, Mr. Sunak told reporters the attack illustrates Russia's barbarity. Although Russia has denied deliberately targeting civilians, many have been killed in missile strikes, drone attacks, and shelling in this war.
Well, I've just come from meeting President Zelensky where we discussed this horrific attack that has just happened. It just illustrates Russia's barbarity, and President Putin can say all he likes. There is one person responsible for this illegal, unprovoked war, and it is him, and he should stop. And that's why the UK has been steadfast in supporting Ukraine and will continue to do so. I'm proud that we were one of the first and now one of the largest supporters of Ukraine. That will continue to be the case. But what I've seen also at this summit is widespread support for the Ukrainians, not just for today, but into the future as well.
The Ukrainian economy and military power would last for only a week if the foreign aid stops. And that's according to the Russian President Vladimir Putin while speaking at the Vladimir Discussion Club Forum in Sochi. The conflict in Ukraine is one of the key topics discussed there, among other issues. Earlier, Mr. Putin had said the Russian economy will be able to cope with military spending on the conflict with Ukraine. At the forum also, Mr. Putin warned that Europe is shutting off Russia with a new Iron Curtain, adding the Western sanctions on Moscow over Ukraine had hurt the European economy, while the US and Asian economies had become more competitive. Meanwhile, in Novosibirsk, Russia, the defense ministry has released a video showing the defense minister, Sergei Shoigu, inspecting an aircraft plant in the Siberian city. The facility manufactures and upgrades the multi-purpose Su-34 fighter bombers widely used by the Russian Air Force for strikes against targets in Ukraine. Mr. Shoigu describes the Su-34 as the principal working horse of Russia's military efforts in Ukraine and has asked the industry to increase output of new aircraft and upgrade those already in service. He also stressed the need to boost manufacturing on long-range UAVs. The Su-34 is capable of carrying various guided bombs and missiles. Russia deployed the aircraft during military conflict in Georgia, Syria, and Ukraine. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is asking Europe to support the United States during what it calls a tough period. A dispute among the Republican majority in the U.S. House of Representatives has complicated budget negotiations, prompting President Joe Biden, who's a Democrat, to go from the confidence that a deal will be made on Ukraine aid to openly expressing concern. Speaking to the media on the sidelines of a summit of the European political community in Spain, Mr. Zelensky said the situation with the United States is dangerous, but Ukraine is ready for any tough period.
The situation with the United States is dangerous. Yes, it's a tough period for the United States, and of course it's a tough period for Ukraine, but since first days of full-scale war, we didn't have easy time. So we are ready for any tough period. For us, it's very important. Europe and the United States also have to be ready to work together this period, not to lose this unity. We give time to time, but very often we give this information. And I think my signals today have been to European leaders that really United States supported Europe, supported Ukraine during a long time. It's true. And Europe supported Ukraine. But I think that is time now, time of challenges. Challenges when Europe has like a strong leader in the world. Europe is a strong leader in the world. Europe has now to support the United States. Yes, but I'm thankful to President, to Congress. I know that we have bipartisan support. I see these challenges, but I hope that, again, United States, Europe will be together with Ukraine, and I think we will help to go out from this crisis.
And joining us now is Anna Chernikova, VOA correspondent in Kyiv. Hello, Anna. It's good to see you.
Good evening.
Well, a sad day in Kharkiv at this time with the latest airstrike that has killed dozens of people. It is also said to be one of the deadliest single strikes in civilians since Russia's invasion back in February last year. How are Ukrainians faring at the moment?
Yeah, very tough 24 hours for Kharkiv region and for the city of Kharkiv. It's really a big tragedy for Ukrainians, and here in Ukraine, everyone is, well, shocked. Unfortunately, this is not the first time Russian strike takes so many lives, and not the first such deadly, unfortunately, strike. But as you correctly said, since the beginning of full-scale invasion, this is the most tragic event in the Kharkiv region in terms of air strikes, if not, of course, taking into consideration the occupation of the region for quite a long time as well. At this point, we know that yesterday attack took life of 52 people. Unfortunately, one more person has died in the hospital. What also we know that this location was a place where a lot of villagers, citizens of this village, came to say a final farewell to a fallen soldier who was from this village, and his family organized this service. And unfortunately, the son, who was also a soldier, Ukrainian soldier, and his wife and his mother, the widow of the fallen soldier, also died in this attack. What is important also to mention that this attack basically took life of almost half of the village, because at this point, local authorities said that more than 100 people were living in this village, and 52 died. In total, like over 300 people before full-scale invasion were living there. And if we are talking about Kharkiv and today's attack, also very sad event. The strike was targeting civilian infrastructure, and particularly a residential building in the central part of the city. At this point, we know about 2 people who were killed, 1 child and his grandmother, and at least 30 people are injured, and some of them are remaining in the hospital.
All right, we've also heard condemnations coming from the United Nations. President Zelensky himself has condemned that attack. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has also done the same. What is the situation on ground?
In the Kharkiv region, 3 days of mourning were announced, and I should say that probably not only Kharkiv region will be mourning the victims of this attack. In general, in Ukraine, both officials and society calls this action as a genocide of the Ukrainian nation, and a lot of Ukrainian partners of international partners of Ukraine call this a war crime. What I can also mention that, as I already said, unfortunately, this is not the first time that Russian forces target civilians and target civilian areas and locations where civilians are gathering, not only in the east part of the country, but also we've seen this in the south, in Kherson region as well, particularly the recent one in Odessa region. So it's something that, of course, Ukrainians cannot get used to, because every time such tragedy happens, it's an extremely sad day and sad time for Ukraine, for the whole country.
It's a very sad one. Let's talk about the aid Ukraine expects from the U.S., which, of course, seems to be stalling now because of America's internal affairs. What would be the next line of action for the president, especially considering the call coming from Zelensky for Europe to support the U.S. at this hard time?
Well, here in Ukraine, of course, everyone is hoping for better. Everyone is waiting for the final budget to be approved and for the final decision on Ukraine to be approved. We're hearing also from both from U.S. Partners and officials that aid should continue, and from the Ukrainian officials as well, representatives of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, President Zelensky himself, mentioning that the aid should continue, and tough times have been in place for quite a long time for Ukraine. So this is just another tough moment. And of course, everyone is hoping for better. Everyone is hoping that that the aid will go on. President Zelensky's recent visit and meetings with international partners and visit to Spain yet again confirmed the intentions of Ukrainian international allies to continue aid, and President Zelensky announced some additional aid to come in some time soon.
Is the president back from the EU summit in Grenada, and what was his mission to attend that event? Can you give us an overview of what the visit by President Zelensky was about?
Well, first of all, to make sure that aid continues, that additional aid is coming to Ukraine, that, to meet allies, to meet partners. What we know from his recent speech to the nation is that Ukrainians are expecting to get more air defense, more artillery, more long-range equipment. And this is something that, of course, is very much needed for Ukraine at this point of time, especially as the winter is coming. Air defense is crucial to protect energy infrastructure, and artillery and additional artillery and long-range equipment is, of course, also crucial for the front line and for Ukrainian counteroffensive, which is, it looks like, will continue during the winter time as well.
Thank you very much, Anna Chernikova, VOA correspondent in Kyiv. Thanks for your time, and please stay safe.
Thank you.
President Vladimir Putin turned 71 years old on Saturday, with his special military operation in Ukraine grinding on into its 19th month, and the Russian presidential elections around the corner in 2024. A local newspaper reports that the Russian leader may soon indicate he will take part in the 2024 vote, paving way for the Kremlin chief to stay in power until 2030. Mr. Putin, who was handed the presidency by Boris Yeltsin on the last day in 1999, has been leader for longer than any other Russian ruler since Joseph Stalin, beating even Leonid Brezhnevin's 18-year tenure. But Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said last month that if Mr. Putin decided to run, then no one will be able to compete with him.